Chapter 24. It was getting towards evening, and shadows were beginning to lengthen on the shoreline as Brome climbed down from the cliffs. Ahead of him, he could see Whoop, the sea rat who had taken Feldo's javelin through his footpaw, limping along by himself. Suddenly, Brome had an idea that might gain him entrance into Marshank. He padded silently up until he was almost level with Whoop.
"Hi there, mate. You the beast they left behind?"
Whoop sat down on the sand, wincing as he nursed his paw.
"Aye, that's me. What's your name, matey?"
Brome sat down by him and began ripping a strip from his shirt.
"Ha! I'm Bucktail. Captain sent me back for you. I was walking along the cliff tops when I saw you down here. Hold still while I binds that paw up for you, messmate."
Whoop gritted his teeth as Brome worked.
It hurts bad, Bucktail. What do you think? Will you give me a limp for the rest of me life? More'n likely, bucko.
Brome nodded as he tied the improvised bandage off neatly.
You was lucky it didn't catch you higher, or you'd have been a goner. Come on, mate. Up on your paws. I'll give you a lift back to the fortress.
Hopping on one paw, the injured sea rat threw an arm about Brome's shoulders and leaned on him as they made their way slowly back.
Bucktail, eh? Well, my name's Whoop, and I won't forget you for the help you've given me this day, messmate.
They entered the fortress as darkness fell. No beast paid much attention to them both. The main center of attraction was the continuing feud between the two leaders. Clog sat on the courtyard stones, surrounded by his crew as he tore ravenously at hard bread and dried fish, guzzling seaweed ale from an oversized tanker. Badrang stood on the porch of his longhouse, haranguing the corsair.
"Now, let me get this right. One creature, a single squirrel maid at that, killed 3 of your great hairy wave robbers and wounded another. Well, lack a season and lose a day."
Clog hurled a hard crust at Badrang. It fell short.
Go and boil your head, stoat-ears. You were safe enough inside of your fancy fortress, surrounded by your lubber-nosed horde.
Badrang leaned over the porch rail, his voice mocking.
"And what, pray, was the dreaded Captain Trom Clog doing while this dreadful slaughter took place, hiding from the squirrel maid?"
Clog's nose glinted purple with rage as he spat out dried fish.
"It weren't no squirrely maid did the killing. It was those escaped slaves of yourn throwing javelins. And by the way they could throw, I'd hate to be in your shirt if they attacks you."
The tyrant spread his paws appealingly to the listeners.
"Why should they come back here after escaping? Strikes me they'd want to put as much distance between themselves and Marshank as possible. By the way, how's your ship refloating coming along?"
A slow smile spread across Clog's villainous face.
"Much the same as your stone quarrying and field cropping, me old messmate. Have you done much empire building today?"
Stung by the taunt that had rebounded on him, Badrang pointed his sword at the corsair.
"I'll remind you that you're eating my food, Clog, and your worthless mob of sea scum are filling their bellies at my expense too. But all that's going to change. From now on, if you want to eat our supplies at Marshank, you'll have to earn your food like any of my creatures."
Clog hurled the tankard. It smashed on the ground in front of Badrang as the corsair bellowed defiantly.
"We ain't your creatures! Me and my crew is sea beasts, rovers, and freebooters! We honouring you by taking our meals here, 'cause you owe us that much, you boat-burning barnacle! We'd have sailed off from this fort long since but for your treachery."
Brome threw a paw about Whoop, steering him towards the walls of the slave compound.
"Come on, mate.
Let's find some place for you to sit easy. We can't stand around listening to those two stoats jawing each other to death while your paw's injured bad.
They sat with their backs against the wooden fence.
Ah! 'Tis rest you need, whelp.
Brome spoke loudly on purpose.
A good deep sleep do you a power o' good, matey. Sleep, the best healer of all.
Whoop did not argue. He was weary, and his footpaw throbbed relentlessly. Closing his eyes, he lay back.
Right you are, Bucktail. I feel like I could sleep for a season.
Kayla had been listening to the two creatures on the other side of the fence. Curiosity overcame the young otter, and he was not long in climbing the timbers to peer over the top at the pair. Brome made sure that Wolf's eyes were closed, and they were not being observed. Then he swept the floppy hat from his head and grinned cheekily up at Kayla. Holding up a warning paw, he pointed at Wolf, stroking the sea rat's head gently and crooning in a soft voice.
Sleep, matey. You need a long, deep sleep. Long and deep.
Kayla understood. He gave a broad wink and disappeared. Brome continued, speaking soothingly to the half-asleep Wolf.
Sleep, matey. That's all you need. Sleepy, sleep, sleep.
Wolf's eyelids flickered. He glanced at Brome and smiled lazily.
Bucktail, me old matey. You look like some kind of mouse without your hat on.
Assisted by a mouse named Yarrow, Kayla popped up over the compound top. Between them, they held a big, improvised sandbag. Whump! Wolf's head was a target they could not miss. The heavy object landed forcefully, knocking the sea rat out like a light. He's got enough on his mind to keep him asleep a good while. The irrepressible Kayla giggled. Brome, what are you doing back here, friend? The young mouse clamped his floppy hat back on.
I've come to get you and the rest away from here, Kayla, though I thought you'd have escaped with the last lot.
The young otter shook his head.
I could have, but there's old ones and some babes here that weren't quick enough to get away. I couldn't hop it and leave them just because I was young and fast, now could I?
Brome propped Wolf's head on the sandbag as if it were a pillow.
You're a good otter, Kayla. Listen, here's the plan. We'll get them all out between us, tonight.
Gerard watched as Badring poured poison into a flagon of blackberry grog.
Great season, sire. There's enough in there to lay an army out.
Badring shook the small vial to make sure the last drops went in.
Clog could never resist a drop of blackberry grog. It'll be his last drop, laced with wolfbane and hemlock. There's not a creature born who could drink that and live to tell the tale.
He pulled Gerard close, his voice a sinister hiss.
Listen now, rat. Here's what you must do.
The rat called Oilback threw his knife. It zipped through the air to bury itself deep in the driftwood spar set up on the beach. Captain Trommingclaw grunted as he tugged the quivering blade free and returned it to its owner.
Good throw, matey. I likes to see a beast who's skilled at slinging a frog sticker. Do it again, Oilback.
The sea rat twirled his knife expertly, closed one eye, sighted, and threw hard. This time, the blade went a third of its length into the timber. Clog clapped his back heartily.
Ha ha ha! You're a murderer born, Oilback. Now cock a lug, matey, and listen to a little plan that I've arranged for that stinging grub-swiping former partner of mine.
The moon appeared over Marshink, casting pale light and deep shadow over the fortress, where 3 separate schemes were being laid, 2 for death and 1 for freedom. Brome hastily rearranged his corsair gear. There was little difference in the ill-assorted rags worn by Clog's pirates and those of Badring's soldiers, and in no time Brome looked every inch the horde beast. Kayla did the same, improvising with Wolf's tawdry rags. Minutes later, two ruthless horde beasts marched straight past the guards and into the slave compound.
Stay at the rear and help any stragglers.
Brome signaled to Yarrow.
Righto! Listen, friends. All you have to do is follow Kayla and me. If anybody stops or challenges us, don't you say a word. Leave the talking to me. Stay in the shadows as much as possible. Don't hurry too much. And above all, be silent.
They set off towards the main courtyard, with Brome and Kayla leading the group. Badring corked the flagon, shaking it well before he gave it to Gerard.
See if they're asleep. Don't chance it otherwise. If everything is all right, then sneak up close to Clog. He's usually sleeping near to the largest campfire. Place the flagon in his paw, or as close as you can get to it. That stupid, pleated buffoon doesn't care what he drinks. When he wakes in the morning, the flagon will be the nearest thing to him. He'll pop the cork and guzzle it right off. I know him of old. Go now. I'm trusting you to do the job right, Gerard.
Swathed in a dark cloak, the rat left the longhouse. Standing in the shadows at the side of the longhouse was another cloaked figure. Oilback held his knife by the blade, ready to throw. The doorway area was illuminated in a patch of moonlight. His paw trembled a little from the tension of waiting and the enormity of his task. It was not just any common crew beast that got to kill Lord Badring, the tyrant of Marshank. No, it was he, Oilback, the best knife thrower in all Captain Clog's crew. He heard the creak of the door as it opened. Tightening his grip on the blade, he closed one eye and took aim. A cloaked figure stole out, shutting the door carefully behind it. Oilback grunted with exertion as he hurled his weapon. It was a good throw. The cloaked figure collapsed silently off the porch. Oilback hurried forward. Retrieving his knife from Gerard's throat, he wiped the blade, giving a low snarl of dismay when he saw the dead features of the creature he had slain. It was not Badring. His footpaw struck something, a flagon of wine. Never being one to pass up a free gift, he rammed it into his tunic and turned to run away. It was at that exact moment Brome was passing with the slaves. Oilback ran slap-bang into Brome. There was a moment's silence as they confronted each other. Then Brome said in a quiet but commanding tone,
What are you doing around here?
Oilback answered hesitantly, thinking fast as he did.
Getting rid of this dirty spy for Lord Badring. He's one of those corsairs. I got him hanging about here.
Brome nodded.
Good.
He was just about to turn away when Oilback became suspicious.
Just a moment, mate. What are you doing with that bunch?
Kayla stepped in boldly.
If it's any of your business, we're putting them in the prison pit. Lord Badring doesn't want this lot escaping like the others. He wants them down the pit where he can keep an eye on them.
The Corsair was slightly taken aback by Kayla's aggressive stance.
Right. Well, I'll bid you good night.
Unfortunately, they were both traveling in the same direction. Kayla and Brome were forced to walk along with Oilback, who was heading for the main gate, which lay in the same direction as the prison pit. They walked in silence with the slaves following. Oilback glanced at the 30 creatures.
You're gonna have a job on your paws getting them all down that pit. They'll be standing on each other's heads. Do 'em good.
Brome sniffed officiously.
We're not here to argue. We carry out our leader's orders and don't ask too many questions.
The sea rat nodded agreement.
Aye, that's all the likes of us can do, eh, mate?
Though the gates of Marshank were open to the Corsairs camped on the shore, there was still a sentry posted on top of the wall. It was the ferret Bluehide. He saw the slaves being led to the pit and called down.
What in the name of frog feathers are you doing down there?
Oilback winked at Kayla and shouted back arrogantly.
What does it look like we're doing? Taking a swim?
Blue-Hide shook his spear.
Leave that grating alone. All those beasts can't fit down there. Besides, there was 3 escaped from that pit.
Brome sighed wearily. Placing paws on hips, he called out in an insulting manner.
It's none of your business how many slaves Lord Badring wants us to put in the pit. And another thing, those 3 wouldn't have escaped if the sentry that night had been keeping an eye on this grating. They broke out by moving it.
Blue-Hide fixed his eyes on the grating, leaning his elbows on the wall top.
Well, they won't escape from there tonight while I'm watching.
You weren't put up there to watch grating, slophead.
Kayla called out in a stern voice.
It's your job to keep a close eye on those corsairs on the shore.
Now Blue-Hide was completely confused. Kayla chuckled as he slapped Oilback heartily across the shoulders.
That showed him, eh, matey?
Oilback continued on his way, laughing falsely as he answered.
It certainly did, mate. I'll just take a look out there myself. You can't trust corsairs, you know.
Kayla and Brome waited until Blue-Hide had his back to them on the wall top, then shifted the heavy grating to one side.
That was a close thing,
the young mouse murmured under his breath. Outside, in the shadow of the wall, Oilback wiped sweat from his nose, muttering silently to himself.
That was a close thing.
He uncorked the flagon and took a deep drink to calm his nerves. Brome and Kayla ushered the freed slaves into the pit, and then climbed in after them, pulling the grating shut over them once they were in. An old mousewife called Guillaume started to complain aloud.
It's stuffy down here. I'm stuck like a pea in a pod. Why did we have to come into this dirty place?
Brome was thumping the walls to find the opening.
Hush, Mother. This is the way we're going to escape. Keep your voice down.
But Guillaume was not about to be quiet.
The main gate was open. Why didn't we just go out that way? And don't call me mother, cheeky face. I'm not your mother.
Kayla clamped a paw across her mouth.
Silence, you old scold! Brome knows what he's doing. We wouldn't stand a lame seabird's chance of walking through Clog's crew to freedom. This way, we'll come up between some rocks beyond their camp. Have you found the opening yet, Brome?
A shower of loose earth and some pieces of driftwood fell on the heads of Kayla and Guillaume.
Here it is!
Brome cried excitedly.
For a moment, I wasn't sure I could find it. Good old Grum. He did a great job disguising his tunnel. I'll go first. Kayla, you and Yarrow help the others in and bring up the rear. We'll have to move fast. There's not many hours left until dawn. The last thing we want is to be caught out in the open shore.
It took a considerable time to get all the slaves into the tunnel. They pushed up against each other in the darkness. Infants began whimpering, and Guillaume started to complain again.
Ugh, it's hot and stuffy down here. I don't like it.
Yarrow shoved her further along from behind.
None of us are exactly joyful about being down here, old one. Just keep going and put a latch on your lip. You're upsetting the little ones.
Guillaume's dignity was offended.
Stop pushing me, you young rip, and mind how you speak to your elders. Oh dear, there's sand falling on the back of my head.
Brome crawled as fast as he was able to. Hearing Guillaume's last statement added to his haste. He knew the tunnel was only a makeshift affair and could collapse at any moment, particularly now, with the added disturbance of 30-odd creatures blundering their way through it. Suddenly, just when he thought he was at the end of the tunnel, Brome found he could crawl no farther. The young mouse let out a groan into the thick air. The tunnel had caved in at the exit end. They were trapped.